Hey, John, appreciate it. You guys play a lot of freshmen and you struggled out of the gate. Duke plays a lot of freshmen, struggled out of the gate, and have a hard time believing it's a coincidence that the Blue Bloods are just having to do it the same year. So it's got to be COVID restrictions. What is it about all this that's slowing down development, and do you have time to get it fixed with everything that's in place?
Well, change is hard, especially when you're playing the top tier teams. It's hard. A lot of times the young players don't believe you. This has always worked for me. It doesn't work. What got you here isn't going to get you to where you're trying to go. Developing professional habits, playing winning basketball, not just playing basketball, playing winning basketball and what it means. Learning to compete and fight on every possession. It's what it is. I mean, I looked, again at the New England Patriots. Maybe the best coach ever in any sport, Bill Belichick. But there's all kind of change and turnover in New England. You had players opt out. Your quarterback change. All of a sudden, they're not where they were. Well, it's the change that we're having in college basketball with the COVID thrown together. If you're a veteran team, I think I said this last week, if anybody listens to me, most people don't, my wife don't, the dogs don't, so they don't, no one listens to me. But I said the veteran teams have a huge advantage this season. The inexperienced teams, which I think we're one of the least experienced teams, 10 new guys, never played together, we're at a big disadvantage. I'm not using it as an excuse. I want this to be the most rewarding year that I've ever had. That's my mindset. And I'm going to do whatever I can to help these kids. If I have to be mean, I'm going to be mean. If I have to hug them, I'll hug them. If I have to kiss them on the forehead, I'll kiss them on the forehead. Whatever I need to be to help them be their best. I want each of these players at the end of the year to say, this is the best version of myself ever. The other side of it is, as I do that, we got to collectively become a better team. And it's hard when you're doing it. Every game you turn around is another team that is more than good enough to beat you. And so we don't have a whole lot of room for error. My hope is that people watch this game and say, all right, I can see what he's trying to do. It looks different. If it doesn't look different, we got to go next week and stay in camp. And I just want it to look different. If it looks different, we've set the stage of where we're going.
All right, Kyle Tucker at The Athletic, you're next, and Meyer Metcalf, you'll be after him.
Cal, have you gotten a sense as you sort of try to work through some stuff with these guys, and you talked about focus on turnovers, especially in Camp Cal. It doesn't seem like it's any one guy. There's a lot of team turnovers. Have you gotten a sense for where they're coming from and what's I know you've talked about, trying to get mine and all that, but is there anything specific
there's Kyle, there's two things. Everybody's trying to make the hardest play. I call them heroes plays because it means more to them because that's how they played their whole life. Now it's about the easiest play. The second thing, when you don't have the ball, do you make it easier for your teammate to find you? Do you get open? Do you get open with timing? That's all toughness. Do you play with a high motor, like a sense of urgency? That's toughness, man. If you don't, you have no toughness. So those are some of the things, and we worked this week. I've done all kind of different things, and I'm going back in the bag of tricks. The good news about coaching for 35 years, there's all kind of things you've tried over your career to get things changed. Everything here is in pencil. Positions are in pencil. And I look at this, and these kids need me more than any team that I've coached. I'm doing things where it's them and me personally together, whether it's some film or meetings where it's us. I'm trying to get them to turn the phones off and get together because we're not talking to each other enough. I'm doing more individual meetings than I've ever done. I've got to look, think about this. If I'm feeling bad or anxious or down, how do you think they're feeling? This ain't about me. I got to keep them safe, and they've done a fabulous job. And I got to get individual players better, and I got to get our team better. I got a full house of what I got to do, but I'm up for it. Let's go. I'm not afraid of it. Kansas, back in the day, lost 5 games in a row and won the national title. Because during those 5 games, they saw we're getting better, we're getting better, we'll break through. All I want is this to look different. Let me say this to everybody. We had a 3.1 grade point average last term. As a team, 3.1. These kids are doing everything right. They are good kids. Now, let me say this. They're immature. They don't know how to respond to coaching or being subbed. They know now what's acceptable and what's not. If you watch us and we're immature, then they're not getting what we're trying to do. So all this stuff, good kids. Eric said that, I shouldn't make a statement about Keon 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because we got to let the doctors decide. Here's a kid that got over a 3.0. It may have been 3.3. I can't remember, but a big-time GPA. Wants to lead, wants to be out there. A great kid. We're just waiting on him. But let me say this. He's leading this team, and he's not even playing, and these dudes are listening. Wait till he gets on the court. But it's, I'm bouncing around a little bit, but it's all, what does this look like? Not just how we play. Do they look like they're maturing? Do they look like they're accepting coaching or being subbed? What? We had none of the stuff that we had to start with here, but it's normal. These kids don't know better. And I've said this before, I know none of you listen, my wife, the dogs, no one, but I've said this before. If I think they should know something, 100% of the time I'm wrong. They don't know. That's why they're here. That's why we're coaching them. That's why we're challenging them. That's why we're hugging them. That's why we're keeping an eye on them. At the end of the day, we just got to start looking different. Look like a basketball team. Look like a sense of urgency. Compete and fight. Play tough. Get open. Make easy plays. Create good shots. Like if you watch us practice, you would think we're leading the nation in three-point shooting. I mean, they get in the game and now it's a harder shot. Why? We're not creating good shots for each other. We're not moving when the guy stops so you can get an easy shot. We're not making a pass. You ready for this? Just a pass. Well, I'm not just passing. I got to foot fake and look and see what I can do first. How about just catch it and pass it to do that? That's tough. That's a toughness that I'm good with me. I'm fine. Boom. I'm mentally engaged. That means I'm tough.
Myra Metcalf, you got next, and Jerry.
John, there's been a lot of talk about interruptions and postponements. How confident are you that we'll get to the NCAA tournament, and how confident are you that the one city NCAA tournament format will work for college basketball?
Well, let me start, Myron, with this. We're playing 80% of our games right now. 80% of our games are being played. The safest place for all these athletes are on our campuses. Most of us have hospitals, whether they're in our town or right on our campus. If something does happen and they move to the front of the line and they get care. So the best place for these athletes is here. The hard thing, it's like us at Thanksgiving. I debated and went back and forth and didn't sleep for 2 days. We had 50 people come on our parents and families for Thanksgiving, but they couldn't be with their sons. They could walk outside at a distance. They had to have a mask. They did not eat together at Thanksgiving. We gave everybody meals to take with them. The players ate together. It's hard. I mean, this stuff is hard. But I think what they're doing, what Danny Gavitt's doing, to say right away that we're going to do this in one town, we'll have 6 courts, and then we'll whittle it down. When you lose, you're out. Leave the bubble. And then we get it down to where we are. I think it's how we play. Let me just say this one last thing. We owe it to these kids to give them a chance to play safely. We owe it to them. These kids all want to play. There's not a coach in the country whose players would say, nah, let's not play. They all want to play. My kids want to play. Look how we're playing. And they want to play. My job is to keep them safe, keep an eye on mental health, help them individually come together, get them to talk together and get off those phones and devices. You cannot be in a room on your computer or never speak to any other human being. You can't do it. We are doing things together as though we're a family, my players and me. We're a family, just like you would do with your family. They're my family. They're in a bubble here. In the lodge, they're getting tested 3 days a week. They've been good for many, many weeks now. I'm looking at us like we're a family.
Jerry, you got next. John Hale will come to you after that.
John, hopefully I can ask 2 questions, but I'm wondering, how do you reduce the turnovers? How does that come about?
You work at it. You make it. Here's what I would say. In coaching in all my years, if it's important to me, it'll be important to them. And now they know this is important to me. We've held them accountable in practice. We're doing some different things to let them know what's and I'm trying to do it in a way where they hit a certain point in practice. You get X amount of turnovers anywhere in practice. A drill, you fumble, you lose it, it's a turnover. You get to this point, we all run every turnover after that to make them accountable to each other because that wasn't part of this.
And I'm wondering, John, how confident you are of getting the Detroit Mercy game rescheduled, and how important is that as a bye game, as you call it, to build some positive feedback as we go forward? Well,
let me tell you, the way we have been playing it, it's, Detroit for me, Mike's doing a great job, by the way. Detroit for me is, Brad, giving him a chance to come back and me coach against him and be able to watch my son. And we're hoping we can slide it in at some point this year. That's what we're hoping for. We'll have to see. Mike and I haven't even talked about it yet. We knew we had to postpone it. Again, whether you look at this, here's where we are. After the 15th, we really have to be careful of who we're playing, what the environment is. If anybody on the other team after the 15th becomes positive, why is that? Why we have to be diligent to the point of saying, well, we can't play that game. Can you tell me why that is? We can't affect our league play. The most important thing for us is our league. So if any team we're playing from here to when we start league becomes positive, staff or one player, and we're not comfortable with the tracing or whatever, we're just saying we can't play it. We've got to be right for our league. I want to play as many games as we can, but our league is the most important thing for us.
John Hale, go ahead, and Ken after that. We'll see we're out on time, guys. I do got players waiting for you.
You talk about the importance of league play there and then the mental health stuff. You talked about seeing families on Thanksgiving. Mike Krzyzewski yesterday canceled the rest of their non-conference games so their kids could go home for Christmas. I'm curious what your thoughts on that decision were and if that would be something that you would ever consider.
Well, I'm worried about my 12 guys and what we're doing and how it's working. All the schools and coaches have to make decisions for what they think is best for their kids and their program. Home for Christmas is a hard one this year. I've done this a long time. Every year that I've coached, as you guys know, I give my kids 4 to 5 days for Christmas. Why did I do it? I just need to know if anybody listens. Why did I do that every year? Because I've said it over many times here.
I need a break.
I need to break with my staff. And my family. I always had young families. Well, I want to be with my kids at Christmas. I want to get my family together. So I gave them time off. Well, guess what? My wife and I are going to do Christmas by ourselves with our team. My kids aren't coming in. We can't. So I don't know if there were a way that we could do it. I would say let's try. But you leave our state. What happens in 10 days? What, are you quarantined for 2 weeks when you come back? I mean, there's all kind of pieces to this that make this hard. Do I want them to go home? Dudes, I'm going 16 hours a day. I'd like to get a little break. But we also got to make sure we're doing the right things and being safe. This is uncharted waters. Every coach can do what they think is right. I'm not going to question any coach. They do what they think is right for their team, and only they know their team. Maybe we had a team that was really struggling mentally and needed to get with family because they're inexperienced. Then you make that decision. We have kids that these kids here, they want to play now. I don't know of any college player in the country, and my team's not playing well, but they want to play. And so, I worry about my 12, my staff.
Ken Spencer, go ahead, and then guys, we're going to end it there with Coach so we get the players in here.
You kind of mentioned Keon there for a little bit. How much has that kind of hindered the growth of this team? Him not being on the court for all those preseason practices. Obviously, you want him on the court for the games, but also not just so much as a player, but also as almost like that middle point between you and all of these new guys, even Olivier and Davion. They've never played for you. He's the only one who kind of gets it. Does that make sense? How much has that hindered the growth of this team?
Well, one of the things that he was able to do after our game when the body language, the immature part of this team came out, he was able to say, we never had any of that last year. We never had that. We never had it in a timeout. We never had it in a practice. We never had it when a guy was subbed. He's able to say it because, let me explain, they think that's normal because that's how they did it when they were in AAU. I mean, they think it's normal. And so him being able to refer back to this is what it's like. How about this? You try to tell them every game we play is someone's Super Bowl. Did it appear that way with Georgia Tech? Georgia Tech played like it was their Super Bowl. How did my team play? Did they fight? Did they have a sense of urgency? Did they make easy plays, or did they play to win? I mean, we're playing Notre Dame. They're going to play great. We're going to try to make it difficult. I just want the game to look different so that we can all look and say, whew, we're going to be all right. And it doesn't mean win or lose right now. It is, let's play the right way. Winning takes care of itself.
All right, guys.